Player character death. In many games, it is avoided at much cost. Players will metagame and DMs will fudge dice just so they don't have to lose their characters. It is a common problem with new DMs that they are afraid of killing a PC at the wrong time or unfairly, so they'll allow the party to break rules and bend fate just so the character can keep fighting another day. But PC death is a very useful tool. It shows an enemy's power level, it can give the remaining characters powerful roleplay moments, and potentially allow a player to send off a character they were no longer interested in playing anymore. I want to talk about not just the benefits of killing a party member, but what you should do to do it effectively, and how you should deal with it after. The first reason you might kill off a player character is to play the game fair and true. Sometimes the dice just roll in a way that leads to a player's death. You might be like me and believe in the importance of rolling dice out in the open and not changing stats or damage in the middle of combat. It's perfectly fine to fudge dice if you're fixing balance issues you haven't accounted for, but even then, sometimes parties will just put themselves in such a bad situation that pulling them out would do more damage to the game than just letting the dice kill the party member. Although this should be the most common type of player death, it seems to be increasingly rare. This is probably due to the hobby's transition from combat and dungeon delving type games to more roleplay focused games. Both DMs and players nowadays want PC death to be thematic, to hit hard, to happen at narratively appropriate moments. Unfortunately, the dice do not know when it's a thematic time to roll high damage, and even if they did, they probably wouldn't care. Sometimes you can't control when a player is going to lose their character. They don't always get to make the sacrifice in their last moments. Sometimes a person just makes a bad call or gets unlucky, and that's how they meet their end. If you're going to go down this road, make sure you're running the game rules as you have agreed to them in the past. Thus, if you've run everything by the book, make sure you run everything by the book. And if you've introduced homebrew rules that either hurt or help the party in this situation, make sure you run them exactly as you have run them in the past. Most players can accept character death when they know that the ruling that led them to that point was fair. If there's any argument about the ruling that isn't immediately resolved, they'll probably feel cheated. Now, if they're a sore loser, that's not really your problem, but if they're trying to be respectful, you should be respectful as well. Sometimes a player could have plenty of health left and be in a situation where they could totally make it out, but the moment that they're in is where that character's death would hit the hardest and be the most appropriate. The best example I can think of is a PC who's been hunting down an enemy NPC for their whole lives. They finally meet for their final showdown on top of a mountain, and the player describes that they want to grab the NPC and run off the cliff, throwing them off with them. The character might actually have enough hit points to survive this fall, but it's clear that the player is intending this to be the way that their character goes. By appealing to the rules of the game, there's a pretty good chance that you'll take away this character's dramatic sacrifice that they're going for. There's multiple ways you can go down this path, but I recommend just asking your player if that's what they want. In this example situation, I would say something like, in normal circumstances, a person as well journeyed as you could survive such a fall. However, if you're throwing yourself off in such a way to guarantee their death, you would also be guaranteeing your own. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm letting them know that I'm altering the regular rules to allow them to pull this off, and I'm making it clear that if they want to do this, it will kill their character. But what if your circumstances are different? Maybe a PC suddenly betrays the party, grabs an unknowingly cursed item, and according to your lore, they are about to meet an end appropriate to an Indiana Jones movie. In these situations, I recommend putting it down to some kind of roll. Even if the damage is insane, or they have to roll an at 20 to survive, putting some of it out of your hands and putting it on the randomness of the dice and the rules of the game mechanics will at least make the player feel like their character's death was engaged with the game in some form, and make it feel a bit more fair. We're long past the days of Dungeons & Dragons where you walk into a room and instantly die with no save. Give the poor player a chance. Another reason you might want to kill a character is you might be setting the tone for a larger threat to come. It's easy for a party to get complacent and think that they're invincible, killing their ego a bit by killing their pal ego. They will learn that they need to be more prepared. Things are more serious now, and if they don't step up, more people are going to die. This is actually how I saw my first player character death in a D&D game I was in. We were a party that really just goofed off and screwed around and didn't worry too much about the consequences. Suddenly, we were in a fight that we quickly realized we weren't prepared for, and we lost one of our party. Even worse, the monster was a creature that we had failed to kill before, so on multiple levels, our carelessness literally got our friend killed. After that, we became more strategic and played the game a lot more like an actual party. I recommend not forcing a player character death onto the players to get this reaction. Allow their actions to bring them to that point. In the situation I was in, every single party member had ran to cover to avoid an attack, leaving an unconscious character in the boss room alone. Having no one to hit, the boss finished off that character. We as a party understood that even if we didn't realize when we did it, we all made the choice not to stay behind and protect our friend. The DM didn't make a player character death happen, he just followed through with our actions. Some sessions later, we got into a fight that we could not win, and we realized we needed to retreat. This time, I learned my lesson, and when I used Dimension Door to escape, I made sure to grab a downed party member and tend to them as much as I could. Death was a lesson for us, and it was a lesson that we learned from. Okay, so we know why and how to kill a party member, but what do you do after that? How do you give your party a chance to grieve for that character and move on? Firstly, give your party a chance to do whatever they feel like they need to do. If it's possible, give them a chance to retrieve the body and decide what they want to do with it. If there's some high-stakes action going on in your campaign, pull it back. Have other NPCs let them know that they have time to say goodbye in whatever way that they want to. Once the characters have finished their mourning, you can just bring them right back into the high-stakes action, assuming that this was a needed rest time before the chaos of whatever your action is going to be. Secondly, allow the effects of this character's death to be felt in the world. When the party returns to towns that they're well known in, have NPCs ask where that party member is, and show the effect that that character had on the world before their passing. If that character had friends or family, and you really want to hit the party in the feels, have them show up and force the party to explain what happened. If this character has a particular importance to the party, reference their impact on the world long after their passing. The easiest way to do this is to start having kids show up named after that character, or you can do the classic statue in a fountain. That also works. But maybe that's not going to work for your game. Maybe this death wasn't all that emotional. It could have been a joke character that died in a silly way, and taking it so seriously just isn't going to make sense. I've been here before, and I think my favorite thing to do here is to just fill the next couple sessions with dramatic irony. I've created NPCs that my party fell in love with, only for them to reveal that their type was a spot-on description of the character that died. Or this creature that killed the party member will get brought up again, only for an NPC to say, I can imagine getting killed by something like that. I like to ham it up a bit. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like it, please hit that subscribe button so you can be updated when I upload new videos. Thank you again. This is the end of the video.